Hello. Happy, God, what is it? Thursday. Hello. Ah! Okay, I was like, where's my screen? Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome. I missed you. I missed you a lot, actually. Hello, Alyssa. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. Welcome, welcome. I'm happy to be back. It's been so long. I'm very happy to be here. I missed you so much. Although I did have a pretty excellent time in Germany, I will say. It was pretty good. And so that's what we're here to discuss today is Germany and Christmas markets and all the things I saw and learned and ate. So that's what we're here for. That's what we're up to today. Um we are 1 week until Christmas Day, which is absolutely nuts to me. I it doesn't feel real. Um Probably because I haven't been doing my usual Christmas prep. Um cuz I've got I was out of the country for 9 days. So, there's that. And then I'm doing Maid Cafe stuff on Saturday. I'm doing a Maid Cafe Christmas event. So, we're doing that and then Christmas will be just in a few days. Now, I need to know, are y'all Christmas Eve celebrators or are you Christmas Day celebrators? Cuz in my family, we always celebrated on Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day was just like a day to relax. And then, when I was a kid, play with the new toys. And now it's my mom and I started this tradition in college. We do Chinese food on Christmas Day. So we get together with the family on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day, she'll make hot and sour soup, and I will make dumplings, and we have Chinese food. Because that's it's a Jewish tradition in America, or the U.S., that a lot of Jewish folks will go to a Chinese restaurant on Christmas because that's the only place that's open. Because everybody else is at home celebrating Christmas. So I've been to Chinese places on Christmas a couple times. But then, my mother and I just decided we didn't want to go anywhere. And so we decided to make the Chinese food at home. So that's what we do in our family. So I would like to know what y'all do. What are your Christmas traditions? Hope that goes well. Christmas Day celebrator. Okay, valid. So valid. Also, today's beverage in my Nuremberg Christmas market mug that I brought home with me, I made what's called Kinderpunsch. And Kinderpunsch is the non-alcoholic alternative to Glühwein at the German Christmas market. So Glühwein is mulled wine. It's a red wine with like spices and fruit. And their non-alcoholic version for those who cannot drink or do not wish to drink alcohol is called Kinderpunsch, which translates to like punch for the kiddies. And it is like a fruit, like a spiced fruit punch that's made of like apple and cherry juice, hibiscus tea, cloves, cinnamon, and some honey, and it's delicious. So I drank a lot of it when I was in Germany, and it's served warm, and it's hot and wonderful on a cold night, because damn it, it was cold. And so I found a recipe online, and I made a test batch today, because we'll be serving it at the Maid Cafe on Saturday, and I will say it was a resounding success. I was very pleased, and so I'm having my second cup of it. And honestly, it's good cold too. It's good at any temperature. But I had a cup shortly after I made it this afternoon, and then I'm having my second cup. I mean, I know, juice has a lot of sugar in it, but like, damn it, it's Christmas and it's delicious and comforting, so I'm drinking it. Honestly, like, so let's just get into our conversation here about the Christmas market. Since we talked about Kinderpunsch, let's talk about drinks. So there's a lot of different drinks at German Christmas markets. So the traditional is the, like, Glühwein, and traditional Glühwein is, again, made with red wine, but, there's also a Weiße Glühwein, which is Glühwein made with white wine, and then there's a bunch of, I think I spelled that wrong. Oh, well. There's a bunch of different, like, drinks. There was a Glühwein with Kirsch, cherry liqueur, and then there's, like a creamy chocolate alcohol. Like, they have made a bunch of different drinks for Christmas markets, and different regions and different cities in Germany will have different drinks. Like, I know there was one Christmas market that had smoked beer. I'm trying to remember what city that was in, but that was interesting. And I don't drink much. So I only tried a few of them. I tried the Glühwein, the traditional one. I tried the Kirsch one. That was pretty good. And then, of course, I drank a lot of Kinderpunsch. There's also Apfelwein, which is a specialty in Frankfurt. So Frankfurt is in the Hesse region of Germany, so it's a little further north. And so Apfelwein, well, let me show you first what Glühwein looks like. Where you at? Hello. Ta-da! So this is what Glühwein looks like, kind of. The kind at the Christmas markets did not have all the garnish. It was just the liquid. Like, it was steeped in the fruits and the spices, but there were no floaters in the wine. Yeah, if you want to try smoked beer, go for it. My partner said it was interesting. But that's what Glühwein looks like, the traditional Glühwein. And then Apfelwein is a Frankfurt specialty. Because, everybody, when you're in Germany, you think beer, right? Like, that's been what everybody, thinks of what Germans drink is beer. And yes, they drink a lot of beer. But there is wine culture in a specific region called Franconia, and Franconia is now a part of Bavaria, but before it became a part of Bavaria, it was its own autonomous region. And they have a bigger wine culture than beer, because the Romans came over, and so the Romans, when they came, brought wine. But before they could get the grape plants that they brought back from Italy to take hold, they were like, well, we want our wine, so what the fuck are we going to make it out of? And so in Germany, they had apples, and so they decided to make wine from apples. Hence, Apfelwein. And so it technically is a hard cider, but it is not sweet. It is sour. It is fully fermented. This is not your Angry Orchard. So if you like a sweeter hard cider, it's probably not for you. But it is tart and crisp. And it's technically like a wine made from apples. And let me show you what Apfelwein looks like, because there is a specific type of glass that it's served in. And there's a funny story behind it. So that image is teeny, teeny, tiny. Give me, how big is that? I think that'll work. Yeah. So, making wine. I know! Honestly, people can make alcohol from pretty much anything. Take something and ferment it, and eventually you'll get alcohol, which is funny. Okay, so here is what Apfelwein looks like, and this is the glass. You see this diamond pattern on the glass? This is intentional. This is an Apfelwein glass, and so the story behind it goes that after Apfelwein was invented, people would go to the pubs after a long work day, and they would have an Apfelwein in one hand and a big old sausage in the other. And so after a long, hard day's work, you'd go to your pub and you'd get an Apfelwein and you'd get a sausage. Now, you would think that the sausage would come in bread. No, you were just raw dogging the sausage. And so people were dropping and spilling their Apfelwein because their hands would get so, like, greasy from the sausage. And so somebody was like, we have to solve this problem. We cannot waste the Apfelwein. And we can't keep breaking glasses in the pub. So instead of, a bread or a handle, they decided to make a textured glass. So this diamond pattern was created to give some grip to the side of the cup. That way, you could still have your Apfelwein and your sausage, but you wouldn't drop it or spill it. And so you would have a successful night out after work. Or at least that's how the legend goes. So this is Apfelwein. Lots of fun drinks around Christmas time in Germany. There is a non-alcoholic version, which is basically apple cider, like heiße Apfel, I think, like hot apple, basically. And it's a spiced apple cider if you don't want to drink alcohol. So I think it's nice that they have non-alcoholic options for people at the Christmas markets. So we have next. See, we talked about Apfelwein, Glühwein, beer. Looks like lime juice. I guess because this picture is a little lighter. Most Apfelwein is slightly darker. Maybe the one in the picture I found wasn't quite as fermented as the others. That's okay, Alyssa. I'm just happy you're here. Thursdays are a little slow, usually. And that's all right. We're just chilling. We're hanging out. Okay, what other drinks? So we had Apfelwein, Glühwein, Weißer Glühwein, Kinderpunsch, heiße Apfel. Oh, there was one in, I think it was in Nuremberg called a Winterwärme. So like winter warmer, basically. And that, I'm pretty sure it was Glühwein with like a shot of whiskey or some shit. That was strong. I could only take one sip of that. Winter. Let me see. There's a lot of different. Yeah, with a shot of whiskey in it. My goodness. Yeah, I mean, honestly, alcohol does keep you warm. It does warm you up. That is not a lie. And it was cold. Damn it, it was so cold. I don't deal with the cold very well. Cause I am from Texas. You know me. Like, my ancestors may be from a cold place, but I did not grow up in one. You know, and it did not snow. You know, the Germans were like, it is an unusually warm winter this year. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay. It was just kind of drizzly and cloudy the whole time and windy. That, if it wasn't so windy, it wouldn't be so bad. But that cold wind, I was covering my face in Vaseline every night because my poor skin was chapped. Boy, it was moisturizer palooza every night. Because wowie, it was the cold. My skin and just my whole self was not used to that cold. Speaking of alcohol and warming you up in the cold, so we went to this tiny medieval village called Aschfeld. And Aschfeld has a like fortified church. So it's a medieval village. And it stayed intact through World War II, and so it's become a place for people to come and, you know, check it out. And so the mayor of the city gave us a little tour, and we ended the tour inside the fortified church. And we had like coffee and cookies that the little church ladies made, and they were so sweet. Hi, Lily. Welcome. Good to see you. Happy Thursday. But along with the Christmas cookies and stuff, we got a free shot of schnapps, because they're like, you have come to Germany, it's wintertime, you must have a schnapps. Whoa. Ooh, oh my god, the schnapps, boy. Like, the only schnapps I've ever really drank was the flavored stuff back in college, you know, like butterscotch schnapps, peppermint schnapps, you know, or mixing schnapps with other things, right? Well, we've been talking drinks at Christmas markets, Lily, like Glühwein and Kinderpunsch and all that shit. And so now we've gone on to schnapps. So the little old lady who gave me a shot of schnapps, she was like, yes, this is only 54% alcohol, very fruity. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Only 54% alcohol? Lady. Whoa, that was so strong. I took it in one shot. I was a trooper. But, whoa. Yeah, I definitely went in for the coffee and the cookies after that because, that was really strong. Let me tell you, Germans are a different breed with Hey, thank you, Pillow. Thank you so much for resubscribing. Fellow Dumpster Fires for 1.5 years. Oh my god. How exciting. Welcome. We're talking alcohol. But nah, it is only 54% alcohol. Very fruity. There was no fruit. There was no fruit flavor in that schnapps. That burned. But maybe I'm just a weak American. I don't know. The Germans and the Irish, when it comes to alcohol, no, don't get into a drinking contest with a German or an Irish person. I think Europeans have a higher alcohol. Yeah, you know what? I think Europeans in general just drink more alcohol. Probably because it's cold as shit over there. And you've got to warm up somehow, you know? And honestly, before they figured out how to, like, sanitize water, the alcohol was safer to drink specifically, so that probably also had something to do with it. So, speaking of like alcohol and beer, specifically, because this reminded me, so I'm trying to remember what town this was in. I think it was in Nuremberg, at Nuremberg Castle. So, a lot of art that would have been destroyed by the Brown Shirt Party in World War II was hidden in beer cellars beneath these cities, and that's how that original artwork, some of it, was saved, because they were hidden in those beer cellars. So, thanks to beer culture, art and artifacts, not all, obviously, because the Brown Shirt Party did get their hands on some of it, but art and people were saved with beer cellars, and I think that's pretty neat. I remember this ex-tuber I used to watch could drink for a day and only had an issue with caffeine. Listen, Ooh, people who can drink all day are, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how their stomach does it. I don't even know how their liver does it, dude. That's crazy. Haven't had schnapps before. Schnapps is that's some hard liquor. What's it made out of? Is it potatoes? No, potatoes are vodka. Hold on, let me see what schnapps is made out of. Schnapps is a liqueur. A strong alcoholic drink resembling gin, but often flavored with fruit. But what's it made out of? Yeah, there's lots of flavors of schnapps. Peach schnapps. I remember drinking that in college. Peach schnapps, butterscotch schnapps. Yeah, so schnapps ranges from 60 to 100 proof, which is like 30 to 50% alcohol by volume. So that schnapps I had in Germany was 54%. So that's on the high end of schnapps. Neutral grain spirits. It's a grain. Okay. Interesting. Oh, there's so many. Anyway. Alcohol, man. Alcohol. Oh, and there was another... God, me and the drinks. There was another drink that I tried. I think I have a little, jar of it in my kitchen because my partner liked it. It was a brandy, a spiced brandy it had like a chunk of apricot in it. So it was an apricot infused brandy that they had. And I had that in Frankfurt. That was pretty good. If you are in Germany and you want to say cheers to somebody, if you want to toast, there are a couple ways to do it. So let me teach you the German way to toast. So you have a couple different ways to do it, and it kind of depends on what you're drinking, to be honest. So if it's an informal setting and you're drinking a big old stein full of beer, you say Prost. P-R-O-S-T. Prost. You're out with your buddies. You're having a big thing of beer. Clink. Prost. But if you are drinking wine or a liqueur, like our fancy brandy, you look them directly in the eye, the person you're drinking with. You have to make eye contact. And you say, Zum Wohl. Z-U-M space V-O-L-L. Zum Wohl. And you look at each other in the eyeballs. And then you drink. So my partner and I, the whole rest of the trip, whenever we would get our drinks at dinner time, we would stare each other down and be like, Zum Wohl! Because we were being annoying Americans. But that's how you cheers in Germany. Prost for beer, and then Zum Wohl for wine or spirits. That's how you do it. Did the butterscotch schnapps taste like butterscotch? Yes, it did. That is, honestly, the flavors are the only way I can drink it. That's how I can get it down. Yeah, butterscotch schnapps, I do recommend. Peach is also another favorite flavor of mine. Honestly, I was drinking flavored schnapps before I was drinking flavored soju. But they're similar. Except one's made with grain, or like wheat, and the other is made with rice. The more you know. And at the Christmas markets, it was funny, because, they were selling Glühwein and other beverages to drink, but they also had, like, a gift set where they would sell you a bottle of Glühwein that came with the souvenir mug. Here's the thing. So, when you went to these Christmas markets, each market had their own commemorative mug. And they were all like, listen, that's ceramic. They were all ceramic or glass mugs. And each city with their own Christmas market had like a design made for that year. And it says like the name of the city, And like Weihnachtsmarkt, which is like Christmas market in German, and the year, and usually like some kind of design that's unique to the city. Like in Wurzburg, they had the Wurzburg Fortress covered in snow. The Nuremberg mug that I'm drinking out of right now has like an illustration of the market by the church. There's one that I got that has the cathedral of the city on it. And the crazy thing is, this really surprised me in a good way. So when you buy your drink at the Christmas market, it's like, I don't know, €3.50 for a glass of Kinderpunsch and maybe €1 more for the Glühwein. But you don't just pay for your beverage, you also pay a deposit for the cup. And if you bring your cup back, if you don't keep it, you get your deposit back. But if you pay the deposit, you get to keep this nice custom mug for the Christmas market, and it's only €5. €5 for a beautiful Christmas market mug in thick ceramic or glass. Let me tell you, if that was here in the United States, that mug would cost like $20 minimum. Or if it was, a $5 deposit, it would be cheapy plastic bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I got a mug from almost every market we went to, and they are now in my cabinet. And I got more for gifts because my partner and I were drinking, and they were about to bring their deposit back, and I'm like, but wait, which one of these bitches in our family likes a mug? That could be a gift. And they were like, oh shit, yeah. So my carry-on suitcase coming back was full of mugs, and I wrapped them all in like hats and scarves and gloves, and they all came back in one piece, or each mug was in one piece. Nothing broke. But like, I was just so shocked at how nice, like, you could get something really nice for a really good price. So that was pretty excellent. The drink that didn't do really well in the United States until it was sold to people in Japan. What? Oh, Zuma? That's what I had never heard of it. Hang on, let me look. What is that? Oh, interesting. I've never seen that before. Cool. But yeah, hold on. How much is €5 in euro to dollar? So €5, because I think it's 1.16 US dollars to €1, which isn't as bad as it used to be. Yeah, $5.86 for a really nice mug. Man, you can't even get normal mugs for that price unless you go to, like, I don't know, Goodwill. Oh, oops. Didn't mean to bring the microphone out. We're not singing. And, like, food and beverage over there was so cheap. It just really made me realize how much the U.S. economy is in fucking shambles and how terrible inflation is, because in Germany, man, I could go get me some snacks and stuff and not break the bank. Another thing that I brought back with me besides mugs was gummies. Because y'all know Haribo is a German company, but I didn't just get Haribo. Oh no. There is a gummy company in in Germany called Katjes. Katjes, Katjes. And they've started selling some Katjes gummies in the US, but they're like US exclusive gummies, and that's not what I wanted. Because about 11 years ago, I went to Germany for the first time, and I studied abroad there. And I found out about the Katjes gummies there at that point, and it's really hard to get them over here, the German ones. And they're expensive to import. And I saw them again when I went to the Netherlands last year, and I got so excited. And so I got 2 packages and brought them home with me. One of them is called Grünohrhäse, which are green-eared bunnies. They're like they're a pink gummy bunny, but their ears are green, and I think the head is one flavor and the ears are another. And then there's piggy gummies called Fred Ferkel. And I tried to look up what Fred Ferkel was, and apparently that's just the pig's name. So there's a piggy named Fred Ferkel, and his ears are orange. So pink piggy with orange ears, and I'm obsessed. Hi, Alita! Welcome! Happy Thursday! I'm talking snacks. We just finished our section on Christmas market drinks and alcohol, and now I'm talking about snacks. But, like, the big, like, sharing size bag of those gummies was, like, €1.59. Hold on, how much is that in U.S. money? $1.86. Oops. What did I just... Okay. So, honestly, like, a big-ass bag of gummies like that in the U.S. would be at least $3.50. Like, or more. So, man. It's good. Life is good over there. Ooh, speaking of... Hello, Hazel! Welcome! Happy Thursday! Speaking of things that I got... because unfortunately I did not have time to go to like an actual grocery store, because that's one of my favorite things to do when I travel to different countries, is just go to the grocery store and see what's up. But I did get to go to some convenience stores, because the schedule was packed. Like, we'd wake up in the morning, we'd go do a tour, and then we'd go eat lunch, and then do a Christmas market, and then get back on the boat, and then do dinner, and then it was on to our next destination. So it was pretty packed. But I did get to go to some convenience stores, and they would have, like, you know, pre-prepped meals, salads, sandwiches, pasta bowls. And so I always love looking at the drink section in any grocery store or convenience store that I go to abroad, because I am a beverage bitch. I love a beverage. So I found one of my new favorite drinks that's good for all year round, because Glühwein and Kinderpunsch are for Christmas, but I have found one of my new favorite types of beverages called a Schorle. 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 So, it sounds fancy, but it's pretty chill. So, it's a beverage made by diluting juice or wine with, like, sparkling water, carbonated water, or, like, a lemon lime soda. And so, the one that I got most was called Apfelschorle, so apple schorle. So, basically, fizzy apple juice that wasn't super duper sweet. Like, I would already at home, you know, cut juice with sparkling water, because, you know, I like the fizzy. But they just got it in bottles, and it's so refreshing and delicious. Like, you can have your autism meal of mac and cheese and apple juice in Germany if you want. It's just gonna be an Apfelschorle, or if you really just want the juice, Apfelsaft. And then Käse Spätzle, which I posted in the Discord server. Käse Spätzle, cheese spätzle. It's basically like German mac and cheese. Although it will come with, like, crispy fried onions on the top if you don't want the fried onions. What is the word for onion? I know ohne is without. Ohne Zwiebel. Ohne Zwiebel. No onions. But I like the crispy onions. I enjoy it. Germans love their sparkling water. For real. When you go over to Germany, if you just say, like, ein Wasser bitte, like, a water please, they're gonna give you mineral water. Sparkling water. In order to get, like, you know, regular water, you have to ask for still. Stilles Wasser bitte. Still water, because the default to drink is sparkling. But there is a reason for that. You know, after World War II, you know, Germany was pretty devastated, and then during the Cold War, they split into East Germany and West Germany. The tap water in, was it East Germany or West Germany, was not safe to drink. And so they would drink mineral water so they wouldn't get sick. And there are still like older Germans to this day who will not drink tap water because of their experiences after the war. And so that's why like mineral water became the default. Or at least that's what was told to me. So I'm just relaying information. So yeah, stilles Wasser. And still is spelled the same as it is in English. Still. S-T-I-L-L. So if you're at the convenience store or the grocery store and you want a bottle of water and you don't want it sparkling, look for that word. Still. Ugh. Speaking of, because we've been talking about beverages, we've been talking about drinks, let's talk about food. So I already talked about the Käsespätzle, the cheese spätzle. And spätzle or spätzle are like little German noodles. And they're not very long noodles. They're almost like little like coins about the size of like a penny or a nickel. For those of us in the US. And there's a special, like, tool that's used to make spätzle. And it almost looks like a box grater. And then you, like, strain your batter, your noodle, like, dough or your noodle batter through that tool into hot boiling water. And that's how you make it. And then you cover it in whatever sauce you want. Didn't know that. Yeah, man, history. History's really cool. Part of food anthropology, man. But I also ate, of course, I had to have schnitzel. When in Germany, you eat schnitzel. It is not called Wiener Schnitzel in Germany, because Wien, W-I-E-N, Wien, auf Deutsch, means Vienna. That is the German name for Vienna in Austria. So if you want Wiener Schnitzel, you must go to Vienna. You go to Austria. But schnitzel is popular throughout, you know, Germanic regions, so you just ask for schnitzel. And there's different types of schnitzel. And I had two while I was there. And the first I had was in Frankfurt. And so Frankfurt actually has a special sauce that they are famous for. Let me look up the list of herbs. Frankfurt green sauce. There it is. So this green sauce, Grüne Sauce, is a German herb sauce, and it's all with herbs that are grown in the Hesse region. And the Hesse region is where, that's the state where Frankfurt is, right? And so it's all made out of herbs that grow in that region. And so they had a schnitzel that you slather that green sauce on, and it's fucking delicious. I'm pretty sure it's in a base of like sour cream or yogurt. But what are the herbs? And traditionally, it was eaten with like boiled eggs and potatoes. And like, honestly, I know that may not sound super great to some people, but like, I feel like my German ancestors are like, yes, egg potato sauce. You know? Oh, God. Okay, so the herbs in this sauce are borage. Damn it, why did an ad pop up? Leave me alone. Borage, chervil, cress, parsley, salad burnet, sorrel, and chives. Some of those I'd never heard of before because, you know, they mainly grow in Germany. You know, they were selling, like, spice packets at the Christmas market of the green sauce. I almost bought one, but I decided against it. I was like, I have a spice cabinet. I can make it at home. And now I'm like, well, fuck. I don't know if I could get some of these in the U.S. But I'm sure I can, if I really want to make the green sauce, I'm sure I can find some of those spice herb packets online. It might cost a little more, but that was one version of schnitzel I had. And that was served with Bratkartoffeln, which is like a pan-fried potato with caramelized onions, and it was delicious. And then the second type of schnitzel I had is something that y'all are probably more familiar with, which is the Jaeger schnitzel. Jaeger schnitzel or Hunter's schnitzel. So it's a schnitzel with Hunter sauce. What is Hunter sauce? So a Hunter sauce, it's like a brown gravy, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of like a brown mushroom gravy is what Jaeger sauce is. And so I had Jaeger schnitzel as well. It's delicious. Listen, you take a cutlet, you pound it thin, bread it, fry it, and cover it in sauce. It can't not be good, right? Like, it has to be good. Serve that with a side of potatoes, whether boiled, mashed, pan-fried, or, you know, made into French fries. Boy, howdy. Have some water. Water. Gotta stay hydrated. I will say I wasn't the best hydrated in Germany. I wasn't drinking as much water as I probably should have. But I was having fun with all the other beverages, you know? I was enjoying myself. Gosh. Okay, so we talked about schnitzel. We talked about spätzle. Let's talk about Christmas market food. We're here talking about Christmas markets. So one of the foods that you will find at every market, and then just throughout the year at different food stalls, is called Bratwurst im Brötchen, which is bratwurst sausage in a bread bun. So Brot, B-R-O-T, is the German word for bread, and so Brötchen, B-R umlaut T-C-H-E-N, means like little bread, which is like a bun. So, in Spanish, if you add ita or ito at the end of a word, it makes it little. Like, cafecito, little coffee. Similarly, in German, if you add chen on the end of something, C-H-E-N, that makes it little. So, Brötchen, little bread. And so, you know, these stalls have these big grills. And you just see lines of sausages on these grills, and then you've got the beautiful, delicious German bread. I was eating some bread on this trip. Boy, howdy, I was a bread fiend. Oh, it was so, so good. I think I only ate rice once on that damn trip, because German bread is so delicious, and it's UNESCO protected. German bread is like a cultural food that is protected by UNESCO. I did not know that foods were protected by UNESCO, but now I know, and I'm really glad that German bread is one of them because it is so good. But you get your bratwurst, you get your Brötchen, and then you got mustard. You can get mustard on it. You can get caramelized onions on it. And then there is also the ever delicious currywurst, which is a, like, curry sauce. I mean, it's kind of like a sweet tomato sauce with curry powder sprinkled on top, but still, currywurst is fucking delicious. So you could also do currywurst im Brötchen. Funnily enough, there was a town, I think it was called Wertheim. We went to this little town called Wertheim, and most of the stalls for the Christmas market were closed that day. But there was one stall that was open after we took our tour around the medieval city. We were given some time to wander around, do some shopping. And so there was this man, and I couldn't quite read what his stall was called, but, you know, it looked very hunter-esque, you know, and he was selling meat and sausages. And so we got the Bratwurst im Brötchen, but he asked us, okay, do you want the normal one or do you want boar? And I'm like, boar? So apparently, boars are an invasive species in Germany, and they destroy, like, crops and farms. But in order to have a firearm license in Germany, you have to take like a year of classes followed by a test, and then you have to pay, a good chunk of money for the license, and then you have to renew it every few years. And so it's kind of cost prohibitive for farmers to do that and, do pest control on their own. So farmers will hire professional hunters to cull these boar that will destroy their crops and are an invasive species in Germany. And so I think this guy was one of those hunters, and then he made sausage out of the boar and then sold it. And so we got boar bratwurst in Britain with the mustard, and that was honestly really delicious. I was quite pleased. But then he calls it, like, they have little standing tables near these stalls where you can eat. So we were standing at the standing table and sharing our bratwurst, and then this guy calls out and he's like, I have one last regular bratwurst. I will sell to you for €3. Because it was €5 originally. And we were like, yeah, sure, sounds great. He's like, yes, it is my last bratwurst. Now I can close up early. So we bought the last bratwurst for €3, and then he turned off the grill, cleaned up, closed his stall, and then, like, got on his bike and went home, which was hilarious to me. But, like, good for you, buddy. Make your money, end your day early, go take a nap. It was cold and rainy. Go take a nap, buddy. So that was pretty cool. So there's more food anthropology for you. I will say, at a few of these Christmas markets, I saw signs for, like, chili con carne, or, like, burritos, and, like, elotes, and I was like, y'all are very far away from Mexico, and I don't see any Mexicans at this booth. I only see Germans at this booth. I don't know if I trust that. I didn't get it. I stuck with the German stuff. But I just thought it was funny. I was like, how are you gonna do chili con carne in Germany? I mean, I guess it's a meat stew. And Germans can do meat stew, but, like, they don't know about comino over there, do they? Which leads me to another funny story. So, one night at the Christmas market, my partner and I decided we didn't want to have dinner on the riverboat, and so we decided to stay a little later at the Christmas market and just have street food for dinner. And so we had our bratwurst, and then we wandered around and we see a sign in Japanese. And so we're like, interesting. So we wander a little closer, and it's an onigiri stand. And behind the stand is this tiny Japanese lady frying up karaage and making onigiri. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And so we decide, let's order an onigiri. Let's see what's up. And so I went up to the counter because she had just given another customer an order of karaage. And I was about to order, and then in, like, broken English and German, she told me, like, everything was sold out. And so I decided to go out on a limb, and I started speaking in Japanese, like, Daijoubu desu, and she goes, Nihongo jouzu desu ne, and I'm like, no, don't Jozu me, don't Nihongo Jozu me in Germany. And my Japanese really isn't that good either, but she got so excited that someone was speaking in Japanese to her. So we had, like, a short conversation of, like, where did you learn? Where are you from? Are you going to be back tomorrow? I would love for you to come eat my food. And unfortunately, we were leaving the next morning, so I didn't get to say hey to her again. But I just thought that was funny, to find an onigiri stand at a German Christmas market. And our tour guide, actually, I told her about it, and she was like, oh, I didn't know it was an actual Japanese person running it, because she works as a tour guide not only in Germany but in Japan also. Like, she studied there, she speaks the language, and she does tours in Germany for half the year and tours in Japan for half the year. And she's like, oh, well, dang, when I'm here in Germany, I'll have to go say hi to her and, like, talk to her. That way I don't lose my Japanese in the other half of the year. Which was kind of funny. There was a lot of interesting people that I met on this trip. Because, like, we had different guides for each city that we went to. And some of the guides were native to that city. You know, they grew up there, lived there. But some of our guides in the larger cities were Americans who had married German people and then moved to Germany. Like, there was a guy from West Virginia who married a German woman, moved to Germany, and then, you know, had kids, settled down, and all that kind of stuff. And so we got some interesting perspectives from them. And it was kind of cool getting that different perspective. But I was just like, how do you get that job when you didn't grow up there, you know? Like, because most tour guides, you think they're locals, they're natives, right? So I'm just like, what did you do to get this job here in Germany giving tour guides? But I guess it helps, like, you know, they're English speakers and they're giving Americans tours, so maybe that was the edge that they needed. That was the last of my Kinder Punch. I had to go get some whole spices to make that. I needed cinnamon sticks and whole cloves. But I'm glad I have the whole cloves, because I can make other drinks. And make those little pomanders. Did y'all ever make those? Like where you had a lemon or an orange and you'd stick the whole cloves into the lemon or the orange, and then you'd put it in a bowl and it would make your house smell good. I haven't done those in forever. Maybe I'll go to the grocery store and grab a lemon tomorrow, and I'll do one of that with the cloves. Speaking of, like, crafts with food. So, yeah, pomanders. There's this one tradition that we were told about in Frankfurt that was hilarious and delightful at the same time. So back in the 18th and 19th centuries, if you were a young man and you wanted to court a lovely lady, if you were a man of means, if you had money, you would have an oil portrait of yourself, an oil painting, commissioned by an artist, and you would send that painting to the woman that you wanted to court, and if she accepted the painting, you were officially courting. Now, if you were a working class man, if you were a broke ass bitch, you could not afford to commission an oil painting, but you still want to marry, I don't know, the cute butcher's daughter, so you're like, okay, what do? You make a doll out of prunes. Out of prunes and nuts. So you make this little doll out of the prunes, and you know, it's hard to make a prune doll look like you. So you would dress it up like your occupation. So you would make a tiny prune farmer or a prune cobbler or whatever the fuck. And then you would give the prune dolly to the lady you wanted to court, and if she accepted the prune doll, then you were officially courting. And at all the Christmas markets, they sell these prune dolls, and they're so silly. I took pictures. Where is it? Where are you, prunes? I really wanted to buy one, but damn it, it didn't upload. I really wanted to buy one, and they said they're good for like 3 years, but I didn't know if customs would let me bring it back into the country, so Yes. Okay, okay, okay. Let me show you. It's so funny. They're called, oh god, I have to Schvet Schvetschig. Separate it, Martha. Sound it out. Phonics. Svet Schkenmenle. Schwetzkenmenle. Prune figures. They're so stinking cute. Let me zoom in on this. Look at them! Look how silly they are! So the leggies and the arms are made of prunes, and then the face is a nut. And so you paint the little face on the nutshell, and then you dress them up. They're so cute. They're so cute. I was also worried about my cats chewing on them. If I brought one of these back, I was like, oh no, Velcro and JJ would go nuts with these little guys. But they're so cute. And I had never heard of them before. Look at the little, like, gnomes down here with the mushroom hats. Right? They're so adorable. And so now they've included prune ladies as well, just because they're really cute. But yeah, that was a part of German culture that I did not know. Hi, Nima. Welcome. That's actually cute. I was wondering. Yeah, I also, when the guide was first describing prune figures, I was like, how the hell do you make a figure out of a prune? Like, they're so squishy. But honestly, very cute. I was very into it. I guess we should go forth into... Speaking of cats, hi! Hello! I got both these cats in here now. They were kind of aloof at first when I came home. They were mad. They were mad I was gone for so long. They immediately came up to me when I came in the door for pets and scritches, but they wouldn't cuddle immediately. They waited for like a day or so before they decided, okay, we forgive you, we will cuddle. It's funny, the first night after we got back, and I passed out at like 6:30. And I woke up a few times that night, and every time I woke up, JJ was on a different spot on the bed. Like, I remember when I fell asleep, he was by my feet. The first time I woke up, he was on the other corner of the bed, at the foot of the bed. I fell back asleep. Woke up again. He was on the top corner of the bed. Fell asleep again. And then the last time I actually woke up, he was on the, like, he just went to all four corners of the bed. And I'm like, dude, are you just, like, circling to make sure we don't leave? It was so funny. It was so funny. I don't think they thought it was funny. I think they thought they were abandoned. Although we did get presents for the cats in Germany. We did bring them home new food bowls because we found German Daiso. I mean, it's not Daiso, but like, that's what it reminded me of. It was a German discount store called Teddy. Tedi. And they had pretty much everything in there for great prices. So we got little kitty cat shaped cat food bowls. One is white, one is pink. So we brought a peace offering. And good for us because these little bastards broke the treat jar while I was gone. I got a message from the pet sitter being like, they knocked the treat jar off the shelf and it shattered and all the treats are gone. Just to let you know. And I was like, God damn you cats. So now I gotta find a new hiding place for the treat bucket. I gotta get a new treat bucket, first of all, but then I gotta find a new hiding place for it that they can't get to. Like, my cats are not countertop cats. Like, the only place in the kitchen they go is on the floor, right? Like, they just follow me in, but they do not get up on the counters. But I have a shelf that has like all the cat stuff on it. Like I keep the food up there. I keep the treats, their anti-flea meds, their brushes. Like it's all on this shelf. And I think Velcro specifically had figured out that that's where the treat bucket was. And because she is small and agile, she could climb up there and knock it off. And so her and JJ ate all the treats. Velcro got a little chunky while I was gone, probably because you were eating extra treaties. The pet sitter liked you. That's okay. She can gain some winter weight. She needs to stay warm. It's just her winter coat. Anyway, sorry. I had to take an interlude about my children, about my cats. They are very important to me. I didn't see any cats in Germany, damn it. Probably because they were all inside in the warmth, away from the cold. But, like, I didn't, like, because even in the Netherlands, like, I saw shop cats, or, like, the occasional stray, but there were no stray cats in Germany, which I found odd. I don't know, maybe they're really good at keeping animals off the street and safe and happy. I don't know, that's what I'd like to think. But I was kind of sad that I didn't get to meet any German kitties. I did meet lots of ducks, though. Boy, they have some fat ducks in Germany. They were so cute. Because, you know, we were on a riverboat. And we'd get off the riverboat and there'd be duckies sitting in the grass by the dock. And I'm like, oh my god, I love them. They're so fat. Love a fat duck. Gosh. I will say, one thing I was very pleased about was that there were no dogs at the Christmas markets. You know, I think this is an American thing, but, like, Americans bring their dogs everywhere. Even to places that they really shouldn't be. And I'm not saying this because I'm a cat person. I'm saying this because there are just some places where you really don't need to be bringing your dogs. The dog does not need to come to the grocery store. The dog does not need to come to a restaurant. The only dogs that should be in those places are service animals. If your dog is not a service animal, please do not bring it. And I know that if I went to a Christmas market here in Texas, that some people would have their dogs running around. And I was just very pleased that it was just people. No dogs. I mean, I saw plenty of people walking dogs. You know, it's not like Germans don't have dogs. They just know that there's a time and a place for dogs. And that the Christmas market was not one of them. Especially with all the food stalls. Speaking of food stalls, that was our conversation. Because we were talking bratwurst in Brötchen, and the prune dollies. Oh, they had candied nuts everywhere. I was trying to think of, like, things that you found at every Christmas market. The candied nuts, poppin'. Almonds, peanuts, macadamia nuts, cashews, hazelnuts. They candied pretty much any nut you could think of, and they smelled so good. They were so tasty. I love a candied nut. Let me tell you, German candy, even besides the gummies, slaps. Because they had, like, bonbons of every single fruit flavor. They even had Glühwein bonbons, which were interesting. It's right next to me on my desk, a bag of Himbeere bonbon or raspberry bonbon. Let me tell you, Germany knows how to do raspberry flavor. And it's not that blue raspberry bullshit. It's like real raspberries. You know what I mean? My mods are not here. Be gone, bot. I gotta mod my own shit. But the raspberry flavor is like real raspberry, and it's delicious. But they had bonbons of every single flavor, and the booths were covered in them. Another thing they called them marshmallow kisses, and they were these giant fucking marshmallows the size of your palm, and they were dipped in like chocolate. Those were the freshest marshmallows I have ever eaten in my life. I didn't even take a picture of the one I bought because I inhaled it. It was so fluffy and light and like delightfully sticky. Like, it wasn't like dry and chalky like other marshmallows can be. And the chocolate on the outside just had the perfect snap. Ugh. Oh my god. I know I'm over here just talking about food, but like, damn it, it was good. It was so good. And you know what? Let me show you a picture. So, y'all know gingerbread is big on the holidays, right? Like, everybody has their own version of gingerbread, but like German gingerbread, howdy. So in German, gingerbread is called Lebkuchen. And there are many different types of Lebkuchen. And I remember, when I was, 12? That was the first time I'd ever heard about the German Christmas markets, and specifically the Nuremberg Christmas markets. And I saw these giant gingerbread hearts that were hanging from these booths. And I was like, one day I'm going to go to the Nuremberg Christmas market and I'm going to get me a giant gingerbread heart. And that's what I did. I got a small one because I didn't want it to break in my suitcase. But let me show you what these Lebkuchen hearts, look at them! They're so pretty! So, it's a giant gingerbread cookie in the shape of a heart, and it's got, like a royal icing on. I think it's royal icing. I haven't eaten it yet. It's so pretty. I haven't taken it out of the package. But with icing on it, and then there are messages written. So like, ich liebe dich is I love you. Für meinen allerliebsten Schatz. For my, like, all-loving treasure. Schatz is my treasure. So Schatz or Schatzi is like a nickname you give to your partner in Germany. Alles was ich brauch bist du. I don't know what brauch means. But anyway, they have like love messages on them. The one I bought, because it was little, it just says Engel on it. And Engel means angel in German. So I was very happy. But these Lebkuchen are not the only kind of Lebkuchen. There's many different types. And the one that is probably the most famous, and I do have a photo of it that I took, because I bought one, is called Elisenlebkuchen. And so Elisenlebkuchen, like fresh gingerbread, you can only get Elisenlebkuchen in Nuremberg. Or at least, it's like Belgian chocolate, It's like, it has to meet certain criteria and be made in a specific region to be classified as Elisenlebkuchen. And so, aren't they? They're so cute. I was so pleased. But this is what Elisenlebkuchen looks like. I got the glazed one. They have ones that are unglazed. This is glazed, and then they also have ones that are dipped in chocolate. So this is like a gingerbread, like, cookie, a Lebkuchen, and then you got little almonds on top. So the thing about Elisenlebkuchen is that there's no flour in it, or very little flour. Most of it is made up of like ground nuts. usually almonds and hazelnuts. And that's the base of the gingerbread. And then it's chock full of spices: ginger, cinnamon, clove, mace, all of these delicious spices and honey. And it's the most delicious, chewy, perfect, honestly, that was the best gingerbread I have ever had. Was the Elisenlebkuchen in Nuremberg. And you bet your ass I found a recipe for it, and I'm gonna be making some myself. So, I'm just thinking, because it's kind of an involved process, but it should be worth it. This one singular piece of the Elisenlebkuchen was like €3. This is the one thing at the German Christmas market that's not cheap. Because they were selling like packs of 5 or so, and they were like €17.50, and I was like, that's a little steep. Let me try a single piece before I buy a whole pack. And I ate this, and I was like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, but then I didn't go back for a pack, and I kind of regret it. But I found a recipe, and I can make it. And thank god almond meal comes pre-ground, so I don't have to grind it myself. But I have a food processor. I could do it. But yeah, this gingerbread it's technically not a bread because there ain't no flour in it. But it slaps. But there's also other gingerbreads like the hearts or other figurines. I mean, they're cut into different shapes of gingerbread that do have flour in them, and they're all delicious. And honestly, gingerbread in Germany, like, everybody's mama has a different recipe for gingerbread. Everybody's kind of got their own thing, and it can differ by region. Speaking of regions, Elita, are you still here? Because it's not technically a cryptid, but it's folklore. And I immediately thought of our cryptid streams when I first learned about this figure. That is specifically in Nuremberg. It blew my mind. I thought it was so interesting. So, Nuremberg is in Bavaria. It's in the south of Germany. And it is a Protestant region. And I know you're like, Martha, why are we getting into the Catholics and the Protestants again? I promise it's relevant. I really do. So Germany was Catholic up until starting in the mid 1500s. Because our boy Martin Luther, a German, I think he was a bishop or an archbishop, nailed his 95 theses to the door of a church about how the Catholic Church had strayed from the true message of God and fucked up. And instead of working it out with him, the Catholic Church excommunicated him. And he said, well, fine, I'll just do something myself. And so that's how the Protestant Reformation started, was with Martin Luther and Lutheranism. Lutherans. And so a lot of churches that were Catholic turned into Lutheran churches during the Protestant Reformation. So there are different regions in Germany that are Catholic, and then there are some that are Protestant. And so Nuremberg is mainly Protestant. So originally in Germany, children would receive their Christmas gifts on December 6th, because December 6th is the feast day of St. Nicholas in the Catholic Church. But when Martin Luther, created his own denomination, he was like, you know what? We're going to stop with all this saints nonsense. And so in order to get people away from the veneration of saints, he decided that children shouldn't get their Christmas gifts on the Feast of St. Nicholas, but on December 24th, when Christ was born. And instead of St. Nicholas giving the presents, it was the Christ child that gave the presents. But the Christ child, you would think it would be the little baby Jesus. No. I mean, yes, but no. Let me show you what the Christ child in Nuremberg looks like. Let me show you. Because it's different. It's very different. This is the Christ child. The Christkind. The Christ child, and see this little logo up here? Looking like a lady angel with a crown and curly hair and wings. This is the representation of the Christ child that the Lutherans came up with. And she is the one who brings she! Yes, I did say she. She is the one who brings presents to the children on Christmas Eve. And I asked the tour guide in Nuremberg, I was like, why is the Christ child a woman? Like, because you said it represents baby Jesus, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so why? Because, the Christ child, only young women can portray the Christ child in Nuremberg because of how the image is. And he thought for a moment, and he was like, you know what? I don't know. I've lived here all my life, and that's just how it was, so I never questioned it. So we're gonna have to figure out why the Christ child is a woman. But, okay, so here we go. So, now you can see more of her crown. She's got a better wig here. So, every 2 years, a new Christkind is chosen. It's almost like Miss America or some shit. Not stumping the net. He was just like, you know what? Good question. But young women apply to be the Christkind every 2 years. So if you are elected the Christkind by this committee, then you are the Christkind for 2 years. And so the Christkind opens the Christmas market. So opening day, she goes up on the balcony of the church that the Christmas market is in front of. And, reads a story and Bible verses and opens the market. And then throughout the Christmas season, every year, she goes to, hospitals and schools and charity events. And here's a better look at, her whole costume. And so she's kind of like the ambassador for the Christmas market. And what's funny is that the church that the Nuremberg Christmas market sits in front of is actually a Catholic church. It was originally Catholic. Then, during Luther's time, it became Protestant. But then, a couple hundred years later, a new wave of Catholic immigrants from other regions of Germany came to Nuremberg. And they were like, yo, we need a church. All of these churches are Protestant. Could we turn one of these churches back Catholic, please? And so this church is now Catholic, the Church of Our Lady. So the Protestant Christ child opens the Christmas market in Nuremberg from the balcony of a Catholic church. And I think that's funny. Culture is weird like that. Maybe people didn't see her as feminine at the time it started. That's very true. That's very true. The feminine aspect could have been developed, as the colonial binary was solidified. So let me show you more of this picture. Because I think our guide told us a story a few years ago. The Christkind who was elected was an Indian woman, or a woman of Indian descent. And I'm pretty sure this is her. And it was seen as controversial, not because she was Indian, but because she was not a Christian. Her family was practiced Hinduism. Because I think there had been other brown Christkindls before, but they were all Christians. And so when the committee picked this young lady who was not a Christian, there were some people who freaked the fuck out, and they were like, how is she going to represent the Christ child when she's not even Christian? But she did a great job, and the kids loved her, and so people could shut their faces. And actually, past Christkindls in Nuremberg, because as you'll see, this sweatshirt says Christmas Village in Baltimore. Past Nuremberg, Christkindls will go abroad to different Christmas markets, like in the US or other countries, and they will promote like German Christmas culture at these markets. So that's what she's doing here in Baltimore. Honestly, the costume's kind of a sleigh. I gotta say, I kind of want to do a Christkind cosplay. Like, one year, if I go to Holiday Matsuri one year, I'm gonna put this bitch together and see if anyone knows who she is. But I want to do more research about the Christ child and how she came to be and, you know, where the feminine started. But I thought that was a really interesting tradition, you know? Yes? Okay, she's just shifting. Yes. Christ child. And actually, the Nuremberg Christmas market is called the Nuremberger Christkindlesmarkt. Christkindlesmarkt. So the Christ child market is what it's called. And that is a very Nuremberger thing. Like, I have not, and that's what you call people from Nuremberg. You call them Nurembergers, and I love it. But I don't think the Christ child is really super big in other German cities. This is mainly a Nuremberg thing. And what's funny is that they're in Germany, they still celebrate St. Nicholas's Day. Like, they stopped for a while, but Luther couldn't fully stamp it out. So there's St. Nicholas's Day on the 6th, and then the Christ child brings the presents on Christmas Eve. And even though she's not super huge outside of Nuremberg, it's still believed that the Christ child is the one who brings the gifts on Christmas Eve throughout the country. And they don't call Santa Claus because, you know, Sankt Nikolaus was, you know, who Santa Claus was. So they have Sankt Nikolaus, they have the Christkind, and then they have the Weihnachtsmann. And so Weihnachtsmann is who we think of as Santa Claus, because Hollywood and Coca-Cola brought the image of American Santa Claus over to Germany. And so anything that was like Santa Claus branded in Germany was labeled Weihnachtsmann or Christmas Man. They just call him the Christmas Man because that's what he is. Saint Nicholas was already taken. The Christ child brings the presents, so he's just the Christmas Man. He's there to bring the vibes and have a good time. Which I thought was really funny. Oh, and also I forgot about my boy Krampus. I did see Krampus merchandise at the Christmas markets, but I did not see anybody dressed up as Krampus, and that was very disappointing for me. But I'm pretty sure Krampusnacht is December 5th. Because, yeah, I think St. Nicholas's Day is the next day after. Yeah, it's immediately before the Feast of St. Nicholas. So Krampusnacht, I got there a little too late. Yep, it's December 5th. So I got there too late for Krampus festivities. But he was still around. He still had presents in the Christmas market via merchandise. And people were still talking about my boy Krampus. And did you know there are multiple German Christmas spookies? There's not just Krampus. Oh, no. No, I don't know if y'all have heard of Frau Persta. Frau Persta is that bitch. Germans have a lot of stories to make children behave. Like a lot of dark fairy tales are usually German. Have y'all heard of Struwwelpeter? Have y'all heard of him? Please hold. Struwwelpeter. So, y'all know, Heinrich Hoffmann, or E.T. Hoffmann. He's famous for the story of the Nutcracker, right? Which the famous ballet is based off of. The ballet took some liberties, made it a little happier. But Herr Hoffmann also wrote, a children's book called Struwwelpeter. And Herr Hoffmann was a child psychiatrist or psychologist. And he originally wrote Struwwelpeter and other stories for his own children. And let me tell you a little bit about Struwwelpeter. So the background was Herr Hoffmann was like, there's not a lot of good books for children out now. Children need literature. And so he wrote Struwwelpeter. And so Struwwelpeter is, I'm trying to find a good picture. He's like a dirty, lazy boy who does not groom himself. I need a bigger picture. And honestly, Struwwelpeter isn't even like the most horrifying story in the book. Yes, they're going to be interesting. Okay, Struwwelpeter. Let me show you the picture of him first. Here's our boy Struwwelpeter with his wild hair and overgrown fingernails. This is what he looks like, right? Okay, so that's Struwwelpeter. Shock-headed Peter. Here, there's a bigger picture of him. Just look at him. There he stands with his nasty hair and hands. See, his nails are never cut. They are grimed and black as soot. And the sloven, I declare, never has once combed his hair. Anything to me is sweeter than to see shock-headed Peter. So this is a children's story, but the one that kind of freaked me out the most. You also have Cruel Frederick. Ah, here we go. This is the one that freaked me out. They have a Struwwelpeter museum, in one of those little towns I went to. And you can, like, go see life-size illustrations. But this is The Dreadful Story of Harriet and the Matches. And so, this book used to be popular to buy for children at Christmas. I was about to say, he's got really strong nails if he could grow them out like that. So. Although, honestly, the illustrations are kind of funny. Like. And I think it's really, they're only really associated with Christmas because they used to be given as gifts, and also because he's famous for writing the story of the Nutcracker. So I just think they, like, associate this man with Christmas. So, here is The Dreadful Story of Harriet and the Matches. It almost makes me cry to tell what foolish Harriet befell. Mamma and nurse went out one day and left her all alone at play. Now on the table, close at hand, a box of matches chanced to stand, and kind mamma and nurse had told her that if she touched them, they would scold her. But Harriet said, "Oh, what a pity! For when they burn, it is so pretty. They crackle too, or they crackle so, and spit and flame. Mamma, too, often does the same." The pussycats heard this, and they began to hiss, and stretch their claws, and raise their paws. "Meow," they said, "meow, meow. You'll burn to death if you do so." Imagine kitty cat's telling you you're gonna burn to death. But Harriet would not take advice. She lit a match. It was so nice. It crackled so, it burned so clear. Exactly like the picture here. She jumped for joy and ran about and was too pleased to put it out. The pussycats saw this and said, "Oh, naughty, naughty miss," and stretched their claws and raised their paws. "'Tis very, very wrong, you know. Meow, 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 meow. You will be burnt if you do so." There she is. There it is. See, children, what will happen to you if you play with some matches? Do you see what will happen? And see, oh, what dreadful thing, the fire has caught her apron string. Her apron burns, her arms, her hair. She burns all over, everywhere. Then how the pussycats did mew. What else, poor pussies, could they do? They screamed for help. 'Twas all in vain. So then they said, "We'll scream again. Make haste, meow, meow. She'll burn to death. We told her so." So she was burnt with all her clothes and arms and hands and eyes and nose, till she had nothing more to lose except her little scarlet shoes. And nothing else but these were found among her ashes on the ground. And when the good cat sat beside the smoking ashes, how they cried! "Meow, mew, meow, mew, what will mamma and nursie do?" Their tears ran down their cheeks so fast, they made a little pond at last. So, that's Harriet and the Matches. You burn to death and your cats mourn you. You see what will happen when you play with some matches. You will burn to death. Nothing will be left but your shoes. And this is the book that became super famous and sold so many copies, and now they have a museum dedicated to these stories. So I did see a bit of this one with the matches. I think is one of the more famous stories from the book, and you can read more. This is on Project Gutenberg. I'm pretty sure it's in the public domain at this point if you want to read more. But, you know, a little German fairy tale for you with just a little bit of trauma. Can't be a German story without a little bit of that. So not only do they have Krampus who will come and beat you with sticks if you are a naughty child, and stuff you in a bag and take you away, they also have these. I think Frau Persta was more... I think she, like, takes your intestines or some shit. Let me find her. Where are you at? Frau Persta. Let's see. I think we discussed her briefly last year during our Christmas cryptid. Oh. A goddess in alpine paganism. Well, fuck it up, bitch. That's excellent. The upholder of cultural taboos. See, I knew Persta was that bitch. What does she do today? Okay, here we go. So, she's the upholder of cultural taboos. So there's folklore in Bavaria that she roamed the countryside during the winter time. And she went into people's houses during the 12 days of Christmas. And she would know whether the children behaved or not. And if they were good children, she would leave a coin for them to find in the morning, like the Tooth Fairy. But if she was bad, if the children were bad, this is where it gets a little A little grotesque. If the children were bad, she would slit their bellies open, remove their stomach and intestines, and then fill the hole with straw and pebbles. So, like, homegirl turned them into scarecrows if they were bad. Which is a lot. Like, honestly, I don't even think Krampus is as, feels like a jump, right? I don't even think Krampus was that, rash. I mean, yeah, he'd beat you with a stick, or maybe carry you off in a bag, but, like, you still had your intestines. Oh, God. Yeah, Frau Persa is an interesting figure. There are some folks who like they practice German mysticism, and Frau Persta is a part of their practice. I don't know. I'm a little scared. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I have the guts. But I don't know if I have the guts to practice with Frau Persta. I would need to do more research before I brought her into my life. You know what I mean? I like my stomach where it is. Thanks. So, let me see. I know we got a little dark there, but let's see. Do I have any more pictures? That is... Oh! Well, here is a picture of... Here's my picture. This is the Church of Our Lady and the little Christmas trees in the stage in Nuremberg. So this balcony here is where the Christkind would come and make her speech on the opening day of the market. I obviously was not there on opening day, so I did not see the Christkind, but it was so pretty. So pretty. Gorgeous. I did not get to go in and see the church, which made me sad, because it was gorgeous on the outside. But I did get to go into a lot of other churches, and see lots of beautiful, like, medieval and Baroque art. Honestly, I think part of the reason I love cathedrals so much is just because of all the art that's in them. Like, you get to see things that humans hundreds of years ago created with their own hands. And I just feel like that's a really cool part of history. Like, you know, I don't identify as a Christian and I don't go to church anymore. But if I get the chance to go and explore a cathedral and see all the art in there, yeah. Yeah. I'm into it. I'm gonna go look at the paintings and the sculptures and the carvings and the stained glass and all that shit. I love art. Anyway, what else did I take pictures of? Ah, here's lights featuring the Christkind. The lights at night were so pretty. Honestly, I don't know why only 5 of these pictures uploaded. I had like 20 or so photos that I wanted to show y'all. But not all of them uploaded. But I'll upload more in the Discord server, because I have plenty more pictures. Ah, here's the gummies that I was telling you about. Katya's. They're vegetarian gummies, so there's no gelatin in any of these. I think there is gelatin in the Haribo. I had never seen this one in the States, so I picked it up. German gummies slap. So yeah, here's the green-eared bunnies, and then Fred Ferkel the piggy. Love these guys. They're my favorite, and you cannot get them in the States. And then the gingerbread. Damn! I can't believe those are the only pictures that uploaded. I will post more in the Discord server. I already posted a lot of food. Oh, well, I can bring those pictures up. Look at me being a smarty pants. Hang on. Where's the gay curry section? Where are you at? Here we go. I can show you food. Yeah, there we go, there we go. And if y'all aren't in the Discord server, if you're on Twitch, it's in the panels, or you can use the command !Discord. And if you're on YouTube, the link is in the description box if you want to come scream and also see photos. So this is the Käsespätzle, the noodles and cheesy sauce with the crispy fried onions on the top. Mwah. Excellent. Delicious. We already discussed this. And the Jaeger Schnitzel with the Pums and a side of sauerkraut. Delicious. We also discussed this. Ah, we did not discuss these. These are new. These are Schneeballen, or snowballs. So Schnee is the German word for snow. I remember, actually, I studied German when I was, God, I don't know, 12 and 13. Or 13 and 14, something. But I studied German for a couple of years, and we had this little rhyme that we would say in class. A, B, C. Die Katze lief in Schnee. A, B, C. Die Katze lief in Schnee. Which basically means, like, A, B, C, the cat jumps through the snow. And it was just easy to remember because it rhymed. Because we were talking about the seasons and, like, you know, weather, and so talking about snow. So Schneeballen. So these are like, whoa, and we'll zoom in a little bit. So these are like, it's almost like a ball of like crispy funnel cake. Like when you look at it, it's got like the strips, kind of like the funnel cake, but it's made into a ball, and like it's crispy. But traditionally it's covered in powdered sugar, but you also have, like, there's ones up here dipped in chocolate, different kinds of chocolate. There's some cinnamon sugar ones, and the traditional ones are big, like softball size. But I got a little bag of the minis because it would be easier for me to carry. And so how you eat these, you don't just like chomp into them. They give you like a paper bag, and you put it in the paper bag, and then you break it. Like you smack it so it breaks up into bits, and then you eat the bits out of the bag. And so this is a traditional like German Christmas pastry, Schneeballen, and it's delicious, and it's not too sweet. I got the traditional with powdered sugar, and then I got a cinnamon sugar. I'm sure the ones covered in chocolate are sweeter, but I like that the others, like, they're the just right amount of sweetness, and with a nice hot cup of coffee or like a hot cocoa, it's really good. And honestly, I know I've been telling y'all, you know, that I only drink iced coffee. I'm bisexual, iced coffee, but like on a cold day, a good like cappuccino or a cafe latte, yeah, man. If it's an espresso drink, I will drink it hot. But if it comes out of a Mr. Coffee, I only want it iced. It is fun to eat. It's fun when you get to play with your food, you know? And they encourage you to do that with the Schneeballen. So, this lady was very nice. She helped us out at the counter. You know, and my German is good enough to get around. But my partner is great at, like, math and equations and stuff. Languages are my forte. So my poor partner really wanted to, like, order in German and practice in German. And it had such a heavy American accent, and they were going so slow. But she was so patient and waited for them to finish their sentence, and at the end of it, she goes, "Sehr gut." Sehr gut is like very good. And I laughed, but she was so patient and so kind. Because some of the Germans, if they notice that you are being slow and unsure of your German, they will immediately switch to English. Because they don't have time. Time is money and efficiency, so they're gonna move. But I did notice in the Christmas markets, I think they're used to tourists. So they let you like practice your German more than in like a regular shop. Or in the airport. Man, those people at the airport, people at the Nuremberg airport were like, listen, we don't have time for y'all. We're speaking to you in English and we're moving you along. Thank you, goodbye. We went to another bakery because I wanted to get a Christmas Stollen. So Stollen is like a sweet bread. I didn't take a picture of the one I bought, which is silly. I mean, I have it right here, but I'm not on camera. But it's basically like a Christmas sweetbread. And I bought an entire, like I bought a big fucking Stollen because I am serving it at the Maid Cafe on Saturday. Because I can. So, oh, that's perfect. Da-la-la-la. So here is what a Stollen looks like. It is a sweetbread filled with like raisins and candied citrus peel that have been soaked in Jamaican rum. And then it's baked and then brushed with melted butter and covered in sugar. It is hefty, but it's pretty good. Pretty decadent and pretty tasty. Very good with a warm beverage. And it's good until New Year's. The baker was like, yeah, you can buy it now and it's good till New Year's, and it will actually be tastier the longer you let it sit because of all the rum in the raisins. So I bought one, and the lady at that bakery did not speak much English. So I really had to test out my German. And she was so sweet. She was like, Sie sprechen sehr gut Deutsch. And I'm like, nein, no, I don't. But she was so sweet, and I was able to like ask basic questions and order things. And I felt pretty good about it. I was very pleased. Makes me think of the Witch Arc of Black Butler, the season that was based in Germany. Did I watch that? Is that a new one? I don't know if I've seen that, but I should. That sounds fun. Anyway, this is a Christmas Stollen. And I bought a big ass Stollen, and I brought it with me in my carry-on suitcase. And I'm serving that plus the Kinder Punch that I'm making at the Maid Cafe. We're gonna have a little German Christmas at the Maid Cafe. 'Cause it's fun and delicious. What is the Witch Arc? I don't know if I've seen that. Emerald Witch. Oh, this is new. Oh, this is very new. I haven't watched it yet. Okay. Shit, I'm excited. I will have to take a look. Thank you for the reminder. Listen, somebody needs to come out with a Black Butler cookbook, because all of the food that Sebastian makes looks so fucking good. I have been wanting to make that curry bread from season 1 for fucking ever, dude. Ugh. And I bet you in the Witch Arc there is also delicious food. Oh man, I went to the cafe where I had the Käsespätzle and the Jägerschnitzel. They had this case at the front full of such beautiful desserts. Beautiful, delicious, succulent looking like cakes, and and I was so full I couldn't eat any of it. Man, I can't pack it away like I used to. Which is probably a good thing. Oh, but I was so sad. They had the most they brought out this fresh, like, it looked like a Black Forest cheesecake. And I was like, bitch, I gotta do Black Forest cake in Germany. But I was so full. And I couldn't bring it back on the boat. I just, regret. regret that I could not. My second stomach was not active that day. But I ate plenty of sweets. It'll be fine. Oh. Let's see. What else besides the Schneeballen? Oh! So, back to it. I'm obsessed with food, man. A lot of vacations is food shit. This was from a local butcher shop. They just had all the sausages in the window. We got a free sausage tasting at this butcher shop, and everything was excellent. Everything was perfect. The sausage was perfectly blended, and the casing had the perfect snap on the outside. And then you dip it in the mustard. Ugh, listen, I am a mustard bitch. If you don't like mustard, I'm sorry. Germany loves mustard, and I do too. So, okay, butcher's window. Okay, this was, for those of you who were here earlier, this was in the medieval city, or the medieval village, with the fortified church, to protect against invaders, and we went down into, like, the fortified walls of the church, and they had, the church ladies made cookies and tea and coffee for all of us, and they were selling bags of these cookies to help get a new playground for the kindergarten that was associated for the church. And when the church ladies are selling cookies, you buy the cookies. Honestly, these were the best. These were the best thing. The best cookies on that whole trip. Church lady cookies are the best. And also, I was looking up, like, recipes for, like, all of these little different cookies, especially these little crescent ones on the edge. These are called Kipferln. Kipferln. It's hard to pronounce, but they are, like, vanilla almond crescent cookies, and they're kind of sandy and crumbly because they're made with ground almonds. There is flour in it, so they're not gluten-free, but they're crumbly and vanilla-y and delicious. What's up, Velvet? Yeah, no, these were the church lady cookies, and they were delicious. And I bought a bag, and they did not make it back to the States. I ate them on the trip. After dinner, I would pick out some church lady cookies, and there was a coffee machine, like an espresso coffee machine, on the second floor of the boat, so I'd go up the stairs, because I was on the lowest level of the boat. I was in the peasant quarters. It was not peasant quarters, it was still expensive, but it was the cheapest, level. So I go up to the second floor, and I'd get me a cafe latte, decaf, since it was after dinner, and I'd have some church lady cookies with my coffee, and it was the best. What else did I have in here? Oh, these are the raspberry bonbons. These are some of the ones I have sitting next to me. I love that Germans do real raspberry, not blue raspberry. Like, I like blue raspberry as much as the next bitch, but these are delicious. I love a bonbon. Listen. I saw somebody, when I was at the airport, doing my social media scroll while waiting to get on the plane. I saw somebody who said, I have reached purse candy age. So I need y'all to tell me, those of you who are also at purse candy age, tell me what candy you keep in your purse. This would be my purse candy. I mean, I am also at purse candy age. I also keep candy in my purse. Usually it's like butterscotch discs, peppermints, or Dum-Dums. But if I could find a tin of these, this would be purse candy. I also love the fact that, like, purse candy is an age. Oh, but you know what? Everybody loves a granny with purse candy. It just makes you happy. I do, I enjoy Werther's and those little strawberry things that grannies kept in their purses. Anyway. Bonbons, I wish to nom. Right. Ooh, caramels or Andes mints. Valid. So valid. I love a caramel. Okay. Look at these fucking pretzels, dude. Oh my god. I don't think I will ever be able to eat the crunchy pretzels sold at the grocery store ever again. I came back from Germany with a soft pretzel habit. I'm trying to think of how many soft pretzels I ate, but they were baked fresh and sold at the Christmas markets, and so you had a hot, soft baked pretzel and you would dip it in the mustard. Or eat it plain. Either way, god damn it. Even at the convenience stores, they had fresh, soft-baked pretzels. Oh, God, it was so good. Delicious. Candy corn. See, I only eat candy corn around Halloween because that's when it's fresh. But I feel you. You're ruined, I know. I can't do the Schneider's pretzels anymore, dude. I will say, the soft-baked pretzels you can find in the frozen section, they will cut it. They'll do. But now I feel like I need to learn how to make soft-baked pretzels because that's... Oh, so good. So good. And these were actually on the riverboat. And one thing I really like about this particular company that we went with was that all of the food they make, for breakfasts and lunches and dinners and stuff, they use local ingredients from wherever they're cruising to. Because we went with the same company when we went to the Netherlands. And I remember seeing, like, all the ingredients and, like, any sort of, like, container or carton they would take out to make food. It was all in Dutch. And now, when we were in Germany, all of it was in German. It was all local German ingredients. So even if, because we would wake up and go eat breakfast before we went out on our tour for the day. And so when we would go eat breakfast, we were still eating, like, German food. Or, dishes made with German ingredients. Even though we were eating on the boat and not out at a restaurant for breakfast. And I did try and eat at a few restaurants, and street food stalls and stuff. But I just think it's really nice that even if you're eating on the boat, you're not eating, like, fucking Cisco shit, Anyway. So that was the last of my little Discord photos. If you want to see more, check. Oh my god, the bread. Yeah, look at that. Look at all that bread. That's that UNESCO protected German bread. Oh, I love bread. I love bread so much. Yeah. Look at all that. Delicious. I'm gonna have to post more photos of, like, the churches and all that other stuff because they didn't upload. But I will post them for you to see in Discord. So yeah, I ate a lot. I learned a lot. What else did I do? Walked a lot. Let me tell you, I really appreciate now the humidity that I have where I'm at in Texas, because that air in Germany was so dry. My skin was like chapped. Oh boy. It was, I never thought I would say that I missed humidity, but I missed the humidity, or at least my skin did. Like, my ass, I would have the fucking, like, I would do my hydrating toner, my serum, my moisturizer, and then fucking Vaseline, because I brought my travel container of Vaseline. And thank God I did, because that saved my sorry ass. I am kind of sad that I didn't get to see snow. There was no snow. But they're having an unusually warm winter this year in Germany. Because, you know, climate change and all that shit. But honestly, it was still a lovely time. It really was. And it was kind of nice to actually experience winter weather. As much as my skin was dry. Like, it's gonna be 80 degrees Fahrenheit on Christmas Eve here in Texas. And I'm like, that's some bullshit. Like, can you at least get down into the 50s? It's December. Why is it 80 degrees? It was nice to get some wear out of my winter clothes. Like, I actually was able to wear, like, some sweaters and cardigans and shit. I was able to dress in layers. I think on Christmas Eve, I'm going to be in, like, shorts. But no, if y'all ever get a chance to go to Germany at Christmas time, please do. Or if there's a Christmas market in your area, because wherever Germans immigrated to, there are Christmas markets. I went to one in Chicago a few years ago, and that was pretty excellent. And there's a couple of German towns in Texas. There's Fredericksburg and there's New Braunfels. And I think both of those towns have Christmas markets. So if there is a German population in your area, or just look it up and see if there's a Christmas market where you're at, and you should go check it out. Get you a Glühwein, a potato pancake, a bratwurst, whatever, man. Just go enjoy, because it's fun, it's festive, and you can support a lot of, like, small local businesses and local crafters. Honestly, a lot of the people selling, because, you know, they would sell, like, Christmas ornaments and handcrafted kitchenware and blown glass and, you know, all this other shit. And a lot of them were really excited and wanted to know where you were from and how long you were in Germany, and they were really happy that you were supporting their local business. There was a nice man who, he'd been doing this for, like, God, 30-something years. His name was Dieter. And Herr Dieter was really nice, and he sold a lot of, like, blown glass and sculpted glass ornaments. You know, and we got some gifts for the family at his booth. And we stayed there talking with Dieter for, like, I don't know, 20 minutes? We were yapping and, you know, shopping and having a grand old time. It was really nice. So, yeah, you can support your local artisans and, you know, food vendors at your local Christmas market, whether in Germany or, you know, in your local area. Honestly, I do think I want to, because I'm doing Maid Cafe Christmas on Saturday in Austin. So if anybody's in the Austin area, come eat some German Christmas snacks that I brought back with me. I'm also making my grandmother's fudge, but I'm making it vegan because I know we always have some plant-based people who come to our events, and they can't eat the Stollen because it's full of butter and eggs and stuff. So I'm veganizing my grandmother's fudge so our plant-based baddies can have some to eat. But come make Christmas crafts, eat some German Christmas snacks, and hang out with us. But I also just want to go to, you know, a local Christmas thing in my area. I'm not sure what that will be, but I'll figure it out. But honestly, it was after running around for 9 days to a bunch of different cities and Christmas markets, I'll probably keep things pretty chill for Christmas. Just hanging out with family. I know I told y'all we always celebrate on Christmas Eve. And it's funny because our family is of German descent, at least on my grandmother's side. And, you know, Martin Luther always wanted people to celebrate on Christmas Eve, so I guess that's kind of a German thing. Which is funny because Mexicans also celebrate Christmas mainly on Christmas Eve. So, me and my Mexican friends would always kind of bond over that. Oh, right. I was like, what was I saying this? So, some people get really fancy with Christmas, but after Thanksgiving, a month before, my family, we do a roast ham and then we make ham sandwiches. We got like veggies and dip, chips, and then we slice up the roast ham, and then make sandwiches, and that's Christmas dinner. That's chill. So, I hope that you and your family have a lovely Christmas, however you celebrate, whether it's chill or it's crazy. And actually, on Christmas Day, for anybody who doesn't have, if you're not doing anything or if you're not celebrating or if Christmas is kind of hard for you, because I know the holiday season can be rough on some people, I probably am going to be streaming in my Discord server some silly Christmas movies that I have on DVD, like a lot of the Rankin Bass animated ones. So I'll have that going in my Discord server if anyone wants to come watch and hang out and chill. So, anyway, I think I'm going to end it here for the night. I want to get back on a normal sleeping schedule. So I think now is about the time for me to start to wind down, take a shower, get ready for bed so I can be on Texas time again and not German time. But we still have more streams coming at you this week. So tomorrow night at 8 p.m., we are going to be doing a Kai Guy Idol watch party. And we're going to be focusing on California idols because I met a lot of them at US Idol Fest. So I wanted to show them off. So tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central, we're doing Kai Guy Idols. Saturday, I've got the Maid Cafe at 5 p.m. at Trinkets Austin. If you're local, come check us out. And then on Sunday, I've rescheduled our Mothman dating extravaganza because I fell asleep yesterday. So Sunday afternoon, we're going to be dating Mothman, and it's going to be a great time. Thank you, Velvet. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And you have a good day tomorrow as well. We're going to go say hi to Fish. Fish is playing Lost Judgment. I think Fish would be a good first raid back. So go say hey to Fish for me. And I will see y'all again tomorrow for some Kai Guy Idols. I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for hanging out this evening. I had a good time. Thanks for listening to me yap, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.